Got to be able to make those distinctions, or we can't expect people to make the distinctions we need them to make to accurately engage with us. So, sort of getting ahead of what he's saying here.
Islam is a false religion, and it is inspired by Satan himself, who Jesus said came to steal, kill, and destroy. And this weekend, we saw the fruit of Satan's destruction in the acts of these terrorists. It is impossible to separate what these 8 suicide bombers did from their faith, their religion that inspired them to do this. These terrorists were not acting in opposition to the teaching of Islam. They were acting according to the teaching of Islam.
Now, notice, no distinction here. It would be nice if you'd say, according to the teaching of their particular understanding of Islam, of militarized Wahhabism, or the Salafis, and even then there are Salafis that oppose this. So, but
just to show you how false this man is, he just shot himself in the foot. He said, he did not say that this is maybe according to the understanding of the Salafi or Mohammedism. You know, guys, you know what Salafi mean? Salafi is those who follow Muhammad. Salafi is those who follow Muhammad. What Dr. Jeffers, he said this is according to Islam. Those who follow Muhammad is the one who named them, James White, that those are the one who believe in this. Well, the Salafi is the one who follow Muhammad. This is Islam, and this means the Dr. Jeffers is saying the truth. This is Islam, and you are the false teacher. This false man, he have nothing to do except to defend Islam these days. That's it. Like, I'm really wondering what's wrong with this guy. You just admit it, and you just say that according to the understanding of those like Salafi. What Salafi means? Salafi is Muslims, true Muslims. A Muslim man, he have a Christian friend, he is not a Muslim. The Quran says that. A Muslim man, a Muslim woman, she don't wear hijab, she is not a Muslim. A Muslim woman, she go in the bikini, she is not a Muslim. What's wrong with this guy? And I'm making those series of videos, by the way, because I feel there is a duty to do. This guy, he is gone mad. This guy, he became the protector of the devil of Islam. He is condemning Christians for saying the truth about Islam. And he's trying to implement in the head of your children who will watch his video or follow him that there's two Islam. There's good Islam and there's bad Islam. The bad Islam is not the one which is a true Islam. There's two understanding of Islam. That's what he's trying to say. There's a correct understanding, which is the peaceful Muslims, which does not exist. Muslims are peaceful as long as they are weak. The second they have their weapon on you, they will slaughter you all. Muhammad himself, he had agreement, treaty with his enemies because he was weak. But when he became strong, in chapter of At-Tawbah, he said, you know what? Forget about all the treaty. Go and read the chapter 9, verse number 1. Forget about the treaties. Your hand is clean from any treaty. Go and kill them. Slaughter them all. Bara'ah, which means you're like, you have no guilt if you attack them and break the treaty. The treaty it was done for a reason, because he was weak. This is why the Quran says the following. If we go to chapter 47, verse number 35, 47, 35, and you can choose any false translation Muslims they have, because at the end of the day, all are false. you will see the following. The Quran says clearly that Muslims should not cry for peace. Should not cry for peace. As long they have the uppermost. So when Muslims they can cry for peace? Only if they are not the uppermost. Then we can go for peace. But if you are the uppermost, don't ever cry for peace. This is why Muslims, generally speaking, they are not going in war with America, because America can wipe them all of the earth if they decide really to go in real war. So the teaching of Islam is very clear that peace is a condition of weakness. War is the duty of a Muslim. Let us go back to the false teacher, Mr. James White, and continue with him and expose more of his fabrication and defense of the devil of Islam, showing us really the true faith of this man.
No distinctions being made. It's just, so let's go back in time. Let's put the shoe on the other foot again. Got to do it. Got to do it. I know you don't like to do it, but got to do it. Let's go back and let's go back to the crusade. And I didn't get the date. I'm just off the top of my head here. One of the crusades, one of the problems with the crusades was it was not really easy to transport an army from Europe all the way to the Middle East. That's a long walk. Long walk. With lots of stuff in the way. Mm-hmm. And so the best way to get there was by ship, but not everybody has a bunch of ships. You gotta pay money. And so one of the major crusades booked passage, got the ships they needed, but the people that gave them the ships said, we've been having some problems with Constantinople. We've been having some problems with Constantinople. And so we'll tell you what, we'll give you passage, but only if you sort of make a stop off at Constantinople. They haven't been working with us the way they need to, and so we'll take your arm.
Let me tell you what he's trying to do. You see, first of all, what the crusade have to do with all of this? Isn't this is exactly what you hear from a Muslim? Seriously, isn't this is exactly what you hear from a Muslim? He right away mentioned to you the crusade. But isn't it true the crusade, they are the one who re-attack the Muslims attack, which means it was a reaction, not an action? Why this guy, he keep talking about the crusade in every video he's talking about, defending Islam? This is what Muslim says. But he will not tell you the crusade happened because Muslims attack us, not because the crusade they went for party. He just said it's a very hard mission. This was actually called the crusade. The crusade is called the crusade because was not fun. It is a crusade. Go and learn English. The funny me is saying James White to learn English, isn't it? Because obviously this man, he's trying to put in your head that the crusade are bad, the Muslims are good, and we are the one went there for war, which is absolutely a lie.
Crusades fail. If your answer to that question is yes, then you don't understand the Crusades. Some believe that the Crusades were a series of military invasions of the Holy Land launched from Western Europe between 1095 and 1291. But they were much more. The campaigns in the Holy Land represent one small aspect of the Crusades only. The Crusades were not merely a series of wars. They were a social movement, a paradigm shift, an attitude. They were a worldview adopted by Western Europeans, and that worldview saved them from being completely subjugated by Islam. Prior to the Crusades, Western Europe was a collection of partially Christianized competing tribal kingdoms. The Crusades changed that dramatically. The Crusades remade Europe into something very new and very formidable: Christendom. So how did it happen? Well, it didn't begin with Western Europe at all. It began in the distant East with a powerful conquering force. In the 7th century AD, the Arabs swept out of their homeland. They waged warfare on the Christian world and conquered around 2/3 of it. Ancient, culturally rich Christian territories, such as Egypt, Libya, Syria, the Holy Land, and Spain, fell to the Islamic armies. This had a powerful psychological impact on the Christian world. Western Europe was penned in by a new religious empire. There wasn't much that Europeans could do about it for the first few hundred years, since they didn't have the wealth to launch a major offensive against Islam. Fast forward to the turn of the...
Anyway, you can guys watch this video. I'm just giving you an idea. It's called How the Crusade Saved Europe, and we want you to change your mind about the crusade. The crusade really saved Europe. Actually, they saved the world. If the crusade did not stand up to fight and sacrifice their life defending us, all the world today will become a Muslim, would be a Muslim. So a foolish man like this guy James White, he keep attacking the crusade each time he talk. He have no idea what he's talking about. He want to quote for you only bad things the crusade did. When the crusade was not, the idea of the crusade was not to make anything bad. But always in war, bad things will happen. We send an army of 200, 300,000 soldiers to Iraq. One of the soldiers are even Iraqi women. Does that mean the American army are a trashy army? What this guy trying to put in your head is what every Muslim trying to say to you. That you Christians are filthy, ugly, disgusting. Look at the crusade. The crusade is the best the Christian did. And we need a crusade today. Otherwise, who is going to save us? The Muslims attacking us, we defend them. The Muslims, they behead us, we defend them. Not only this, we see someone like this claim to be Christian defending person. He is defending the devil of Islam. And he is attacking the crusade. Like, can't you get over it? No, he cannot, because simply he have a Muslim mind. Let us say, for the sake of argument, the crusade was bad. For the sake of argument. What does this have to do with our topic? Like, did Jesus say, carry sword and kill people and chop the head of people you know, what this have to do with our... We are talking about Islam, or we are talking about a bad person or a bad group? He's trying to imply in your head that ISIS are not Islam. You do not need to be a genius to understand this guy. This guy, he is working hard since like a few months ago until now. Every video he make, he is defending Islam. Islam is a good religion. ISIS is not Islam. The crusade, I never saw until now a video he defend Islam. He did not mention the crusade. For he is a false teacher. For he is a false Christian. For he is speaking for the tongue of Muslim. This is exactly what you hear from a Muslim. I feel when I'm listening to him, I'm listening to a Muslim. When the truth is, we should appreciate the crusade who gave their life. Tens of thousands of those poor Christians, they left Europe to defend, not to attack. But this false man, he make it the opposite. And he start telling you stories about how they transform into the Middle East, and they want to rent a, and they called the taxi guy. The taxi guy told them, I will take you if you don't stop in the way. I cannot take you, sorry. And then they ask him, okay, let us go there. And the whole story have nothing to do with the topic, except he's trying to condemn you to defend Islam. This is the propaganda of James White, and which look like maybe, I don't know, are you getting donation from Muslims or something? Because you don't sound like a Christian for me. It sounds like you are. I'm listening to Shabir Ali. Are you Shabir Ali? Like, do you became one united organization? This is exactly what you hear from a Muslim man. Let us go forward, because this guy is really making me sick.
To Christianity. As Christians, we follow the Bible. We follow the New.
Well, except for Roman Catholics who deny sola scriptura. But are they part of Christianity?
First of all, guys, the guy who is talking is not even a Catholic. Just to show you how scumbag this guy, sorry I have to use this word. The guy is talking, the one who is playing his video is not even a Catholic. So what's wrong with you? Secondly, what you are calling a crime, it's your imagination. Because what kings do is not what we like to happen. There's one guy in a charge, and he is the one who order. So if a king do bad, he is the bad. But we remember only the bad, we don't remember the good, because you are picking up your cherries. So as an example, when I remember Muhammad, what is the good I can remember about him? Are we comparing between the teaching of Christianity or a king? Are we comparing between Jesus and a king? Are we comparing between Christianity and Islam? Or Christianity and someone? He is a leader someday. Are we going to compare one day between Christianity and George Bush? Are you going to judge Christianity by Obama? You see how trashy this talk is, how low class it is, how false it is? We are talking about two religions, or to believe, if we can be accurate. One is called Christianity and one is called Islam. So if this man is an academic man, he should compare between them, not between that guy and this guy and me and him. We don't present Christianity. A Muslim too, he don't present Islam anyway. What I can say, that this person is very shameful, and I think he needs to see a doctor. He needs some medication, and obviously he needs help. And I advise you, Mr. James White, to convert to Islam as long you are too much in love of Islam. If you are an honest man, if you are a true Christian, you should compare between the life of Jesus and the life of Muhammad. And then we can find out who is the false, who is the bad, and who is the good. But because you are a false man, you try to involve everybody between, when this is not really the subject. The subject is, we don't care really for ISIS. Is Muhammad a good man? Was Muhammad a killer? Was he a rapist? And when you defend him, you are defending who? Are you sick? I advise all the Christians, please copy my videos, spread them all over. This guy should be trashed in the trash can. Let the Muslims listen to him. We don't want this guy in our churches. This guy should not be allowed in any church, because the first thing he would do, he will start right away defending Islam, trying to prove to you Islam is a good religion. Same as there's bad Christian, quote unquote, there's bad Muslims, quote unquote. But he will not say to you there's bad Muhammad and good Jesus. This is not his topic. His topic is there's bad Christian and there's bad Muslims, and Islam have nothing to do with it. This man is absolutely a false teacher, a false man. So I advise the Christian Don't subscribe to his channel. Stay away from him. He is working for the devil, and I have no question about it. And look, what is integral in him is a Christian attacking Islam. Like, you see what the problem? A Christian, after all that the Muslims did to us, the Muslims took countries from us. Millions of Christians being killed, humiliated through more than 1400 years. You know the country is called Turkey. This is not the land of the Turkish. This is our land. You know Syria? This is our land. You know Iraq? This is our land. You know Egypt? This is our land. This is all a Christian land. The Muslim by the sword they conquered and they took it, and this guy is saying to you Islam have nothing wrong with it. ISIS is bad, but it is not Islam. Let me show you more of his lies in the coming quotation of him. Let us listen and love.
I don't know. I'm not sure what Dr. Jeff's position on that is. I've not heard him address that. But we need to make a distinction there, right?
Testament specifically.
We follow the New Testament specifically. I wonder what that means. I mean, certainly the New Testament is the highest authority in the sense of it gives us fulfillment of Old Testament passages, but the New Testament teaches that all Scripture is theopneustos, which when Paul wrote that to Timothy, the New Testament was still being written. So that included, and in fact was first and foremost about the Tanakh, the Torah and the Nevi'im, the Ketuvim, the law, prophets, the writings. That's what we call the Old Covenant, the Old Testament Scriptures, right? Odd way of putting it.
You cannot.
Just wait before we go. So he's trying to say to you, you know what? Our Old Testament is a bad book. That's what he's saying. Our Old Testament is a bad book. Is that how Christian they talk? Do you believe it?
Find a verse anywhere in the New Testament that commands us to kill unbelievers.
Well,
Well,
a lot of folks would like to say that he has artificially limited things by ignoring the Old Testament. Because you've got the Amorites and the Canaanites and...
you see, so the Christians are bad. So let me ask you a question, Mr. James White. So if a Christian, they have to follow, as you are saying, this guy is trying to ignore what it says in the Old Testament. The Christian, they should go for war. And this is what the Old Testament is saying. So why are you condemning the crusade? If this is what the Old Testament is saying. So are you condemning the Christians for following the Old Testament? Is that what you are trying to say? You are trying to say to us that this guy is not being truthful as a Christian because the Old Testament is speaking about war. So if you are a true Christian, you should go in war. But yet you condemn them, the ones who says we want to go for war. So if we follow the Bible, we are bad. If we don't follow the Bible, we are bad. It doesn't matter what do, you are bad for James White. And he condemn you for following the Old Testament or believing in it. And he condemn you if you don't mention it. He's trying to say to you, this guy, oh, he forgot the Old Testament. Ah, okay, hypocrite. He forgot what the Old Testament is saying. He only focused in the New Testament. Let me tell you something, Mr. James White, the one you claim to be a leader, and you claim to be a teacher, and the one you claim to be a scholar. Everybody knows that people in the Old Testament who lived thousands of years ago, they were surrounded by enemy. And if they don't defend themselves, they will be demolished. And actually nothing changed until now. If the Jews today, they lay down their arm, the Muslims will wipe them out of the earth with no mercy. So in order to understand what Old Testament speak about, we have to go back in history and see what happened in that history. When everybody enslaved everybody, everybody attacked everybody, everybody lived by the sword, well, everybody will die by the sword. So it's a foolish of you to start quoting what happened thousands of years ago, being unjust for what happened to the Jews and how the Jews used to live and who was around them and what's happening to them. We are living in a time where everybody kill everybody, everybody enslave everybody, and then we try to think as a 21st century man thought. Man, that's bad. Yeah. Now somebody will say to me, well, aren't you saying the same about Muhammad? Absolutely not. Islam is religion to follow exactly, to practice for the future, not about today or yesterday. Muhammad, he ordered his followers to do jihad and to do fight and to do kill, and he is the one who was attacking others, not the opposite. A Muslim have a duty to attack until the judgment day. If we go to the book of Jihad, we will find the following. This is the book of Sunan ibn Majah, and can be found in many other books too, where Muhammad, he predict that the Muslims will attack and they will win the Constantinia, and they will take all the spoil of the Christians there. And this is not about one-time deal. He is speaking about good Muslims who want to work and fight for the sake of Allah. They will conquer the Constantinia, and they will be saying Allahu Akbar when they enter it, and they will take a lot of spoils of war, has never been seen before. And by the way, this was a false prophecy, because Muhammad, he was saying to them, you will do so, the Muslims at that time. But that happened by the Turkish, who Muhammad, he said about them that they are the enemies of Islam. So some might they say to you, how Muhammad, he guessed such a thing will happen. Muhammad, he said you will fight the Turk, and he claimed the Turk are the evil, most disgusting people. Even he described their faces the same as the faces of dogs. If you want more reference about this, you can read my book, The Deception of Allah, where I speak about that, or you can read my other book, Quran and Science in Depth, to earn more knowledge about Muhammad and racism. So this is not about the Turkish. So Muhammad was thinking the Arab, they will be able to do so, but the one who was able to do so, it was the one who he thought they will be his enemy forever, which is the Turkish. Muhammad, he never thought the Turkish would become Muslims. So the one who conquered Constantinia, it was the Turkish, not the Arab, as Muhammad predict. And those who Turkish, who they are the enemy of Islam supposedly, they became Muslims, and they were following actually the order of Muhammad. Because when Muhammad says you are going to fight Bani al-Asfar, and actually in different hadith it says, the Prophet, he said, encouraging his men, fight the Roman, fight the people of the yellow. The Muslim, they call the Roman Bani al-Asfar. You see in here it says Roman, but in fact in Arabic doesn't say Roman. It says Bani al-Asfar. You see it? Banu al-Asfar. Asfar in Arabic mean yellow. So fight Banu Asfar, which somebody might say to you, like, who is Banu Asfar? Banu mean the children of Asfar. The fact he's saying the children of the yellow. The Asfar are the yellow because their hair is yellow. So fight the children of the yellow, which mean the Roman, and you will conquer Constantinia, and you will get a lot of spoil. So he's seducing them by money and spoil of war. This is the whole idea actually of Islam, is to conquer, take the money of the Christians, take their women as slaves, and keep conquering and make more money and get rich. You know, once I asked a Muslim, what was the job of the Muslims at that time? Seriously, what was the job of Muslims at that time? Guess what? They have no job. Their job is just to go for war and conquer and get the spoil, a lot of money. Muslims have no job. Actually, even Muhammad, he said that if a man, the most shameful thing for a Muslim is to work as a farmer. The most shameful, disgusting thing. Let me show you. This is Sahih al-Bukhari, and this is the hadith number for those who would like to have reference, as you see it in the screen. Muhammad said, I saw some agriculture equipment and said, I heard the Prophet saying, there is no house in which those equipment enters except that Allah will cause humiliation because of entering it. Which means if a Muslim man, he use equipment of farming, Allah will humiliate you. So what is the job of a Muslim at that time? At that time, do we have like Sony, we have Microsoft, we have Apple? What people will work? What people would do? Who is going to feed the Muslims if there is nobody doing farming? Where Muslims they get their money from? From war. It was a shame, and always it is a shame actually if a Muslim want to follow this, to have equipment of agriculture, because simply this is a shameful thing. It means you are not doing jihad. So even just being a farmer, it's a shame in Islam, because the job of a Muslim is to do jihad non-stop, to kill the infidels, to conquer them, and the reward is to take their women, their spoil, their children's. And yet we see someone like James White trying to poison your mind, saying to you this is not a true Islam. What a false man, false teacher. Let's go back to the lies of Mr. James White.
And he seems to be referring to himself, and toward the end he says, now bring those men before me who refuse to have me rule over them, and kill them before me in my sight. And we're talking about judgment, bunch of stuff in the book of Revelation about stuff like that. So, and then when it says command them to kill others, yeah, seems like there's texts like that in Surah 9 and elsewhere. But as we've pointed out, there are people who say, no, this had a particular fulfillment, a particular place, but I guess they're not Muslims. See, again, if you're using a paintbrush that's this big.
You see, guys, the fabrication is trying to say to you, chapter 9, verse 29, the one is saying is go and fight those who don't believe in Allah. Let us go into the scriptures and see this is about certain time or this goes for all time. I just showed you how Muhammad, he is talking about conquering the Constantinia, not the Christians even in his neighborhood. Because if this is about certain time, well, what the people of Constantinia have to do with it? Remember, the Roman never attacked Muhammad. Never, never. Muhammad is the one who sent the 3 letters to 3 kings. So if this is for a certain time, how many years after Muhammad the Muslim never stopped conquering? Muhammad is dead. The Muslims is conquering. Muhammad became dust. The Muslims are conquering. So he's trying to say to you that chapter 9 verse 29 is not about always fighting non-Muslims, but it's about certain time. Let us go and read the verse and expose the lies of this man. This is chapter 9 verse 29. I made tons of videos about it. However, it looked like I have to re-talk again about it. You can take any translation you want, and as I said, all of them, they are false translation. However, we will use them, so Muslim will not say we are making our own translation. It says clearly to fight those who do not believe. Fight, and by the way, here the word qatilu coming from the word qatala, which means kill, which means fight to kill. Which means the word fight here is not really accurate as translation. It's fight to kill. Qatala yuqatilu. So kill those who believe not in Allah. So what is the condition? To fight. And to fight who? Those who believe not in Allah. What is the problem with those people? They believe not in Allah. They believe not in the last day, they don't forbid what is forbidden by Islam. And they don't acknowledge the religion of the truth, which means they don't accept Muhammad as a prophet. And this is the translation of the Muslim, not my translation, saying even if they are. And by the way, it's not really in the Quran, it says even they are, it says of the people of the book, which mean specifically, not even if they are, specifically the Christians and the Jews, because people of the book in the Quran is Christians and Jews specifically. You fight them until what? Until they pay the jizya, which means you conquer them, you humiliate them, and you make them subdued like puppies. So it doesn't say the neighbors because they fought us. No, it says fight those who don't believe. What the problem of those who don't believe? The verses after actually saying the Jews, they believe someone, his name is Uzair, which is a fabrication, which is proving Muhammad to be a false man, because no such a thing. The Jews, he's explained to the Muslims why we should kill them, why we should fight them, because they believe in Uzair, that he is son of Allah, which is not true. Find me Uzair in the Old Testament. I want to see Uzair. Muslim, can you show me Uzair? I want to read Mr. Uzair. And the Christian call Christ the son of Allah. So why we are going to fight them? What the problem? They don't believe in Islam. They don't believe in Muhammad. They don't believe what is forbidden. They don't convert to Islam. And they call Uzair the son of Allah. And Christ is the son of Allah too. So this is the major problem. But this is not for in the time of Muhammad. This is for every time. Anyone see here anywhere it says this is about certain time? So the fabricator, Mr. James White, defending Islam and saying this is about certain time. This is not about every time. This is because Muhammad, the poor guy, he was defending himself maybe. Or maybe he was poor trying to make some money maybe. Or Muhammad, you never know what kind of things happening around him maybe. Hypocrite, liar. The verse is so clear, we have to fight them because of their belief. And you will see the verses after, all of it is just to attack them. Attack the Christians and the Jews for their belief. So the war happening for one reason. It is the belief. Not because of a certain time, as this fabricator trying to say to us. I'm done with this guy. I'm sick of this man. And I don't believe he's a Christian no more. I advise the Christians to stay away from him. Don't subscribe to his video. Don't invite him to your church. This guy is no Christian. No way. Because no one should defend the devil. The topic is Islam. The man who defends Muhammad is no Christian. The man who tried to prove to us that Muhammad was a good guy is no Christian. And you will notice all of this propaganda, he never said one word against Muhammad. All what he's trying to say to us, this is not Islam. And he's speaking to us as if he's a Muslim. The crusade, the Pope, the Catholic, etc. This is a Muslim talk. I'm not sure if he's a Muslim or not. However, for me, he's a false man, false teacher, and I warn the Christian from listening to this man. I'm sick of listening to you. I'm not going to make more videos of you because you are really, really lost. I'm asking you, James White, to repent and to ask for forgiveness because you are taking the side of the devil. The question should be, Mr. James White, who is the good one to follow? The evil Muhammad or the good Jesus? You are not doing that. You are trying to prove Muhammad to be good. You are trying to say to the Christians, Muslims is people who follow good and they practice good. Muslims are good people. And I wonder if you are really a truthful Christian, because the Bible says clearly that those who deny me, I deny them. And those who deny the Son, they are the Antichrist. They are Antichrist. So according to the Bible, every Muslim is an Antichrist. But yet you are defending every Antichrist. Somebody will say to me, or I saw in text before, somebody saying, well, didn't Peter, he deny Jesus? Well, he denied him, but he repent. You see the one who deny? Every one of us, he denied Jesus in certain time. By doing sin, by doing adultery, by whatever. You deny Jesus every day when you commit sin. But this man is defending the devil against Jesus. But he tried to present himself that he is the Christian who defends Christianity. I don't see that. And I will leave that to the people. And by the way, I look at your video, Mr. James White. Always you disable the comment. And I consider this a sign of being afraid of people criticizing you. You cannot handle comments. But yet you are allowed in yourself to humiliate anyone who don't agree with you, calling him names like a fool, stupid, foolish, crazy, false, etc. Even the word dump. So should I call you the same? I wonder. Christ is Lord, and false teachers will come to us in a clothes of a sheep, but in fact they are wolves. Be aware, Christians. Thank you.